I find when you're young, people are really good at convincing young people that being young is where it's at. And then those people think they're going to be wise. Like, okay, if someone says hang on to your youth as long as you can, or enjoy your youth as best as I can, I'm going to try and be young for the rest of my life then. And then they're 30, 40 years old, hanging out at the club with young girls, trying to be relevant still, trying to dress hip, getting their hair dyed, listening to the new songs, the radio, not because they like them, but because they want to be able to associate with younger people. And the longer you hang on to that youth, you realize you're the weirdo, you're the creep. You can't have meaningful conversations with anybody because they're not where you are, right? Like Doug Stanhope, one of my favorite comedians, talks about, like, he's making fun of parents who are afraid of pedophiles and going like, no one wants to fuck your kids. I can't even have a conversation with an 18-year-old girl for more than 5 minutes. Why am I going to fuck her? And I know that he's trying to be tongue in cheek there, but there's some reality to that, right? Like, I mean, sure, I could look at a really well-built 18-year-old girl and think like, wow, that's beautiful. And maybe I have some sexual thoughts. But like, there's no reality in that, right? Like, I mean, how could I ever want to be around someone like that who cannot fulfill me in any way? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I could say like, what's your favorite Frank Zappa record? And they'd say, I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's a record?
Yeah.
Aren't those new things? Those are those new things the kids are buying? I'm like, well, they're not new. They're back.
Yeah.
So like, there's all that stuff. So I don't really want to, I feel like a lot of my friends who have rejected children did it for those reasons. Not because they think it's better for the planet, not because they can't afford it. It's because they don't want to be old. They don't want to be parents. They don't want to give up their social life. They don't want to give up the freedom, and they don't realize that they're giving up nothing and gaining more than they can imagine.
Yeah.
They're giving up, but that's the thing is so many people make that decision without knowing what the decision they're making. But that's reality for everything though, isn't it? Like, I mean, if you decide to never eat magic mushrooms, you could talk all day long about what you think magic mushrooms are like, but you'll never know until you eat them. You'll never know what that experience is.
Well,
you'll never know what it's like to.
I'm kind of in the. I was in the position that your friends are in. I didn't have a vasectomy, but I didn't want to have kids. The thought of having kids was repellent to me, and it wasn't for any of the reasons that you describe. It was because my relationship with my parents was so dysfunctional when I was young that I thought that was what it was, and I didn't want that. And I also knew enough to know that once you have kids, it's over. That's what you'll be doing for the rest of your life. You'll be dad, and you'll be doing that. Yeah. And what I discovered was that was not true. First of all, it didn't have to be the way that it was with my parents. I didn't have to be like my dad, and Ali certainly wasn't going to be like my mum. And I could still do all the things that I did with a child in my life. It didn't make that much difference, because between us, Ali and I looked after the child minding side of it. And Lily, when she was a little baby and needed constant attention, would sit on the floor next to me whilst I made music and did all the things that I was doing. And when she needed attention, I would give her that, and then she had a decent upbringing and didn't really interfere with what I wanted to do in the way that I thought she would. So I was wrong about that. I got that wrong, and but a bit regretful about that now. But then, if things had been different, it wouldn't be Lily that was here. It would be some other child, possibly 10 or 20 years older now. So it's. You don't get to design your life down to that kind of detail. I think sometimes things just happen, and it's you're where you're meant to be. I was meant to be an old dad, and that's that's it. That's what I am.
Exactly right, and I'm okay with that. Like I said, there's just a lot of these like question marks and open-ended stuff where I think about choices I made and whatnot. But I'm perfectly okay with it too, and you're right that in the sense that the way I thought she would affect my life, it didn't, and it affected me in ways I didn't expect, in good ways. Like I thought for sure that I would. Somebody's hungry. I thought for sure that that it would put a huge block in my music creation. Now I don't write music the way I used to. I spend less time writing music, but I do it. I spend more. I'm down here more frequently, but less for shorter periods of time. right? When I'm like, so like something I would spend 2 hours doing, I'd now spend 20 minutes doing. So I have to get to the point quicker, which I find has done nothing but help me, because you said yourself, like Taste the Future, you think is my best work. I think it's my best work yet. If you'd asked me 3 years ago, would I make my best album the year I had a baby in the house? I'd say, I don't think I'll make any music.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't anticipate it. I was just going to do what I could do. And if anything, I'm not writing music, like the end product is coming out of me as fast as it ever did. There's just less time it takes to get there, which is strange. But that ability, but like that roadblock that made me more focused, forced me to be more focused, has actually benefited me, because my music, instead of being out here, it's here now.
Yeah.
And I can, so I can focus more on the lyrics, I find, because I have more time where I'm stuck with doing like a bottle or something like that. So I'm thinking more about words in my head.
Yeah.
And then I find that when I do have time down here, like if I have to record a solo, it's a 2 minute long solo. I might only have 2 minutes to record it. Mm-hmm. So I got one take. And if it doesn't work out, maybe I'll try again tomorrow.
Yeah.
And having that urgency about something, and not having such a structure in mind, and having it be more of like, I'll let it be what it be. Like more like the way you treat a child. You can't force your child to be a wrestler. But if she grows up to be a wrestler, then I'll help her get there, right? But like, so my song are like little children now, right? Like they are what they are, rather than me trying to shoehorn them into something. Yeah. And I think that's become, even though I'm still writing conceptual stuff, the lyrics are conceptual, but the music, for the most part, is just what it is. The concept is through the lyrics for them. But in this case here, I found like I was able to sort of make them more reflective. So like the music is more like representative of the lyrics in a way that I never expected before too. But again, it's all coming out by accident. And I think it's because of her. It's the positivity, the love I feel in her. My ability to write melodies has gone crazy fast. Because I sing to her all the time. Like I'm making up melodies constantly for her.
Right.
And now with the technology, I take my phone out, open up the voice recorder, sing a melody, bring it down to Cubase, open up Vario audio, and it tells me the key I'm in. It shows me the notes.
Wow.
So I don't have to even figure it out now. So I can be like, oh, that's what it is. And I map those notes out on my keyboard, and I play the melody on my keys. Because I'm not good at that. I'm not good at playing by ear. Like I can't, like I got friends who'll hear a note and they'll be like, they know what chord it is.
Yeah,
They, I could tell if it's minor or major, but I don't know if it's an A or a G or whatever, like I know how it relates to each other. I could tell when it's gone up 4 steps or down 2 steps, but where it started, I have no idea, And so having that there with me, it makes it a lot easier for me. And then I'm also now finding where my natural singing voice sits, because I used to sing to the song. Now I write the song to my voice, because the voice is where I start.
Yes, that's very important. Yeah.
Yeah. So, because voice, obviously singing has never been important to me. Music's always been more important to me. And so the singing is just like which is why my voice is so diverse too. Like you can listen to my whole discography and it's, I think if you take a look at every style of my singing, you're probably going like, this guy can sing a lot of styles. He has a very variable voice. It's not because I'm trying to be like that. It's because I'm just trying to serve the song. The song got written. Now I got to find a voice that fits. Yeah. Right. So, I envy those singers that can sing their voice on every song. Like Robert Plant can do his thing on anything. I don't know how he does that, because I can't. Not that I can't. I mean, anybody would love to sing like Robert Plant, but I meant to be able to like transport your voice into any position and make it sound right. Yeah. I don't know how to do that. So I have to transport my voice to the song rather than somehow just make it work. But that's okay. I mean, that's a skill.
I think that comes from having a good range in your chest voice, which Plant had at one point. I'm not sure he's still got it now, because he's an older gentleman now. But I think my key is D. I think I discovered that the drop tuning suits me. So all this stuff that's around in drop D tuning, I can get to the high notes on that one, And I think it's to do with that. It's to do with how you can articulate, and your articulation comes from the higher parts, the higher notes that you can reach with your chest voice, because the Chris Martin kind of style of just abandoning any attempt to get to the top notes with your chest voice and just go into the head voice really annoys me. It really kind of annoys me when someone who's supposed to be a great singer and is held up as a great singer just doesn't try and push through. That's only. I think, I'm not an expert, but I think it's only lack of training and lack of application of the techniques that you can learn. You should be able to get. I say that now, but for years and years I couldn't do it. I didn't know how it was done. It was only by accident I found it. I kind of suddenly went there one day and it was like, oh, that's how you do it. Oh, why did nobody tell me this? So I shouldn't be too disdainful of these people, but yeah, I think there's all kinds of sort of things to do with voices that are really difficult for people, I think.